Okay, hello everyone. Today is the second day for the Computex Taipei 2012. In this second day of this annual event, we will have Microsoft with their show. They bring the title of the event as Passion of Innovation. By looking at the stage or something like this, I expect that there will be a lot of surprise from this huge company. So here we go. We will start the show, and hopefully you can enjoy it.
Thank you. And good afternoon. Welcome to what I hope is an exciting afternoon of innovation walkthrough for the work going on in our ecosystem. On behalf of my colleagues here in Taiwan, our partners that are here joining us today, and around the world, I want to thank you for spending an hour and a half or so with us, been about an hour and 20, and really spending the time to participate. As we get started, I first and foremost just want to say thank you. We're going to show off a lot of technology today. We're really trying to highlight the innovation that truly is a joint effort that occurs across the Windows, Microsoft, and broader ecosystem. We have tremendous partners, both here today and around the world, who really support us in this effort. I'd say we work collectively together extremely well. And at Computex, we're seeing a lot of the highlights of how well that goes. This is my fourth year doing this. I want to, again, give a deep personal thank you. I see many of our partners in the audience, and they help pull this together with us and for us. So again, thank you for your time and thank you for your support. As we get started, I thought I'd just start with a conversation on the ecosystem. And I think each year it's worth reflecting on where we've been and where we're going. As I look at the ecosystem, it's interesting. If you go back 5 years, sort of Windows Vista to Windows 7 time frame, and maybe a little before, we really had separate ecosystems by device type. PC ecosystem was unique, the phone ecosystem was unique, TV, and embedded. In today's world, we're moving from, I'll say, a device-oriented ecosystem towards a platform-oriented ecosystem. So in the PC space, we used to have primarily a set of chips, x86-based, Intel, AMD, and others. We had machines built by ODMs that were primarily all computers, a set of OEMs that focused primarily on computers, and then a set of distributors that shipped those out, and most of them were sold in retail. That ecosystem was unique. The phone was a separate standalone. The chips that were used in the phone were different. The ODMs in some cases were the same, but in some cases different. Some of the OEMs were the same, but many were different. You know, an HTC here in Taiwan, or a Nokia, or an Ericsson in those days, built phones specifically, and they didn't build other devices. The distributors of the open distribution market was primarily different, and we sold most of those through retail operators or different retail stores. So it was unique. I could say the same for TV. While chips isn't the primary component, glass would be, and TVs would get another ecosystem. And if you went to call on a major retailer, if you were talking to the buyer for PCs, you were talking to a different buyer than somebody who was buying TVs, and phones likely weren't there at all. Now, embedded is yet a fourth ecosystem, and it is again unique. And so that was the way the world looked if you go back 5 to 10 years. In today's world, as we sort of blow this out, it's all coming together. And our ecosystem is now one of many streams, where we have chips that are used both in phones and PCs. We see the extension of the silicon technology across both platforms and heading towards many other devices. Our ODMs continue to deliver great innovation across all the platforms, PCs, TVs, phones. If you look at the multinationals, we have phone providers like HTC and Nokia thinking about where they want to go. We have traditional PC partners, Asus, Acer, and MSI in Taiwan thinking about how they extend their portfolio. You have folks that originated in sort of client-server computing looking more broadly at what they do. You have folks from Japan who are traditionally come from consumer electronics and have multiple screens, or from Korea. So you have an ecosystem where everybody is looking across the screens, and distribution is coming together. You have retailers selling phones, you have operators selling PCs, you have a very different world. You actually have a convergence of ecosystems as opposed to a convergence of technologies now. That creates tremendous opportunities. It definitely creates an era and a time of innovation that's unlike any we've ever had before. And again, a tremendous opportunity for us as an ecosystem to work together. As we think about it, then our partners think about making ecosystem choices. What is the best platform to build on across all of these screens and devices? At Microsoft, we work hard to build a platform or a set of platforms that enable our partners to leverage what we do, both from a technology perspective, but also a brand perspective when we go to market. And at the same time, create their own differentiation and innovation make money on top of that platform, and build their own brands. So our partners can leverage the best of the Microsoft and Windows brands and the best of their unique brands to go to market. They have the benefit of the money that we spend in marketing and the benefit of the money they spend and engineering on both sides to create differentiation. There are other ecosystems. Obviously, Apple is a large ecosystem. On one hand, it provides technology or opportunities for component vendors, but there's no ability for brand differentiation for our hardware partners that are here in Taiwan and around the world. And it's very hard to sort of break out and have the ability to build an ecosystem or truly a brand on top of that ecosystem. Components are fine, but from a brand perspective and ability to monetize is very different. There's yet a third, of course. There's a lot of discussion around Android. Now, Android does allow partners to create their own brands, but there's a challenge in that there's no sort of brand overarching brand from Android for end users. So if you think about the consistency for developers that Windows brings, consistency for the hardware ecosystem that Windows brings, the consistency for end users, none of that exists there. So if you want to create a device in that particular ecosystem, you take on the onus for sort of building the category yourself. And if you look, the largest selling device that's not a phone in that ecosystem is actually Amazon's device. And that turns out because they can create the ecosystem, they have the brand for that, but they have to do all the heavy lifting themselves. So we think as we look at our partnership and work with the ecosystem, we provide the best opportunities for partners to both differentiate and monetize their unique value and work together to help us collectively drive the innovation forward. So with that, I want to spend a little time today talking about our contribution into this discussion and the technology areas we're working on for the next year and beyond that I think will provide us all the opportunities to continue to grow. This is a big year for Microsoft and for the industry. We have a launch wave of Windows 8 technologies that include Windows 8 for the PC, Windows 8 on the embedded front, Windows 8 Server, and the next generation of our Windows Phone. In addition, we're taking our services, things like Skype, things like Office 365. We just did a new release of our Bing application. We're working on the next generation Office with Office 15. We're bringing a rich set of services and applications in conjunction with a complete refresh of the platform, which we think will drive tremendous opportunity across all of the devices we talked about and many others. And again, is sort of the fuel for the innovation we can collectively bring together. So it's a very big year. We're very excited to participate and be a part of this. I've seen tremendous energy here at Computex already. I got the opportunity to visit the Acer press conference earlier this week. Acer's had one, Intel's been here, AMD, and all of the conversations. There's just, again, phenomenal energy. So what I wanted to do today was spend some time going through each of the areas. I thought I'd start with server, then we'll do embedded, phones, and then of course we'll spend the bulk of our time at the end of the PC category. I was going to start with servers and embedded, because truly, servers, while they're not the big end user purchase you go make in a store, they drive a lot of the services that our end users are coming to use and love, and make the devices and the ecosystem unique. We have two sides to our server story. For many years, we've built servers for on-premise, or you can think of private cloud capabilities. We built specialized servers, things like a multi-point server for education, small business server for small businesses, but also infrastructure class servers, the Windows server, SharePoint server, Exchange, management. We have a full array of servers to basically create the infrastructure for a large organization like Microsoft with 90,000 people, as well as in the current generation building private cloud technology. In addition, we run a set of services on top of a public cloud. So we've taken all the technology and all the learning we've had, and we've actually built a public cloud infrastructure to run some of the world's largest consumer services. Hotmail at over 500 million users. Skype runs at about 235 million users per month in terms of connecting in. Xbox Live is actually the largest media service at 30 million users or subscribers today. So we have experience on running close to 500 million servers around the world in huge public data centers. And we're taking that knowledge in terms of how to build very, very scaled architectures and bringing it to both what we do on-premise as well as to what we're doing with our partners through Azure. So you take a consistent set of technologies, identity, virtualization, management, development, and it allows our partners and our customers to build applications or services that they can run on-premise or in a private cloud, that they can run off-premise or in a public cloud, and actually more seamlessly go back and forth. And it's that symmetry that makes our offerings unique. There are people, obviously, that build public cloud services. Amazon builds them, Google builds them, etc. But they don't have a private cloud server. There's no ability to create a private cloud or something for on-premise. At the same time, there are people who build private cloud technologies or on-premise, whether that's VMware or Oracle or others, but they don't have a scaled public cloud where they're running hundreds of millions of users off of a scaled cloud offering. So that symmetry, or that ability to learn from both sides, is fueling our next generation's release. With Windows Server 8 and the 8 family, we're bringing the modularity that allows people and our partners and our customers to think about how you can build for a single company or a single entity, all the way up to building scale public cloud-based capabilities. It's a very, very scalable architecture. And one of the things we've been working with the hardware community, our partners on, is building a private cloud fast track. This is the ability to take our server technologies, marry them with the hardware technology of the ecosystem, our partners here in Taiwan and around the globe, and build essentially a private cloud in a box. I can take something at the level of the rack I have over here on the right from Quanta, which is a single rack. I can build that out into a container. We actually have one behind our executive briefing center that actually has all of the plumbing, the hardware, the air cooling, the backup and failure, the power management, etc. for a private cloud container. And so we're giving our partners the ability to take all of the knowledge we have in terms of the software side of this and the scaling and our modular components and create offerings for their customers or end users as a private cloud in a box that they can turn around and sell. So that is a sort of a unique capability. The server conversation is obviously very rich. We can spend time on private cloud or public cloud or truly, in most cases, a hybrid offering. But our ability to bring those technologies into the community and work with the hardware, partners and community to bring that offering forward, something we feel very good about as we head into the next year and as we go forward. Now, if servers are one end of the spectrum, I'm going to jump to embedded devices. Embedded devices also aren't the type of devices that most end users walk into the store to buy. Embedded devices, there's more than 1 billion chips sold a year into this space. These are all the devices out on the endpoints or the nodes that provide information back in many ways to the cloud with a ton of information, right? They're used in manufacturing, they're used in retail, they're used in many areas. In some ways, I'm not sure people recognize all the places that embedded devices show up in our everyday life today. So what I thought I'd do is I'd run a little video that gives you a sample of some of the places we might see embedded devices in our everyday life. 45 devices in a single day. It's actually an incredibly rich ecosystem. It doesn't connect into the standard distribution today. You don't find it at retailers. But